why doesn't Get More Math give me or give my student a point when they fix the error?
So the reason I made pretty much everything was to support my own students in the scenario in which I was building Get More Math, right? Um, and I faced an interesting dilemma where, up to having Get More Math as a tool, I would have kids who worked really hard and didn't learn very much of anything. This is less about long-term retention and more about how sometimes effort didn't lead to learning. I'll give you a simple example. I would teach a lesson, or kids would do some kind of discovery exercise. Then we'd have a paper-based thing. Maybe they were working on their own, or maybe with partners, and maybe that would be 10 or 15 minute exercise. I'd have 30 kids, and I'd be walking around the room, helping, guiding, coaching. It was quite possible for a handful of those kids to do every single problem wrong. And then when we'd go over it, they would discover that good kids, they would like erase or cross things off or write down the right stuff. And then they'd go home on the homework, they'd do some problems wrong. And maybe we'd go over the homework and they would come back and, oh, got that one wrong, and fix it. And then we'd give a quiz a few days later, and they would guess what? Well, guess what happened when they would work on that problem on the quiz?
They would get it wrong.
You're right. And then guess what they would say to themselves as an explanation?
I'm bad at math.
Exactly.
That was me.
Or I'm bad at tests.
Yeah.
Right. And what they don't realize, and actually I think sometimes the teachers don't realize, is they never actually learned the content. They never got to a point where they could perform successfully without some kind of help, scaffolding, review, etc. So when I designed the Get More Math system, I wanted a system where gains mean you've learned the math. You can successfully, on your own, correctly answer a question. I did not want gains to mean you've done the work, you've finished the worksheet, you've put in the effort. I obviously care deeply about people putting in the effort, but I want the data to mean actually knowing how the math works. And I find that if a kid gets something wrong and gets some help and then gets it right, that does not mean she's demonstrated yet that she actually understands the math. So the way I like to say, if you're ever looking to explain to a child, you say, "Hey, it, it's totally okay to make mistakes. In fact, it's normal. We expect that. It would be odd. Why would you use the program actually if you just always got all problems right? Like, then don't use the program because you don't need to practice." Um, so mistakes are good because they help you identify the things you don't know, and then you can pursue understanding. You can learn from your mistakes, and then the powerful thing is we let you try again. So when you finally kind of overcome and you know how to do something well and you're getting it right on your first try, the gain there is massive. It's so much more significant than just sort of getting it done because you got a bunch of stuff wrong and fixed it all. And as I think you're asking a question for new users. A lot of new users experience that as odd. That dynamic is new to them, and it can be off-putting. It can be really challenging. But it's if you play it right and you start small and you don't challenge the kids with content that's too difficult, so they can maybe get some easy things wrong and then fix them and then start getting them right, and they get a little momentum from that, and then you introduce content that's a little more challenging that they have to overcome, and then a little more challenging, so that over time the students learn that they can learn. They discover that they are capable of actually knowing the math. It's beautiful, and you'll see kids who in the past hated math get to a point of mastery and confidence where they're helping other kids and they want to do more practice and they can't wait for the next lesson, instead of sort of math is a long series of getting work done. So that's the why.